Meat and dairy were a staple in many cultures around the world who were revered for their martial prowess, longevity, and vigor. Today there remains a few indigenous and isolated cultures who still subsist primarily on raw dairy and meat and accredit a great deal of their martial prowess and longevity to their animal products. A few amongst these high-protein and dairy-consuming cultures are the Pashtuns, Tajiks, the Hunza, and other indigenous tribes of the Afghanistan-Pakistan mountain range, the Chechens, Circassians, Dagestanis, and other indigenous mountaineers of the Caucasus mountain range, the Turkic and Mongol tribes of the Central Asian steppe, and the Maasai, as well as other tribes belonging to the Nilotic pastoralist nomads of Africa. I will examine each of these groups in this mini documentary and explore the splendid health, the potency of their military prowess, and the excellent human development afforded to these people by their high intake of animal foods and indigenous ways of life. Indigenous Caucasians of the Caucasus mountain range live in very isolated, underdeveloped, and pristine environments. In modern times, they have gained high repute for their longevity. Tucked away in their high mountain enclaves, they have managed to fend off domination from foreigners for much of their history. During the 18th century, they would be attacked and subjugated to genocide by Imperial Russia during Russia's conquest of the Caucasus. Though the Caucasians lacked in military technology, they fought valiantly, offering 100 years of resistance to the Russian aggressors. The Caucasian culture can be characterized as martial in nature and chivalric in spirit. They take great pride in developing and grooming intelligent and beautiful women, who were historically sought after in the royal courts of various dynasties throughout history. The cultural and nutritional nourishment provided to the Caucasian mountaineers by their mountainous ecology has afforded these indigenous mountain people a very high level of culture seldom found anywhere else in the world. Of all the native foods available to these mountain people, it is their raw fermented milk products which they cherish the most. The indigenous Caucasians understood well that the raw nutrition in their dairy products played a primary role in the nutritional fortification and physical development of their people. Nestled in the mountains connecting Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and Pakistan, we find people belonging to the East Aryan ethno-linguistic family, such as the Hunza, the Pamir Tajiks, and the Hindu Kush Pashtuns, as well as other indigenous East Aryan groups. These mountain people are world-renowned for their longevity, their fierceness, and martial courage. Their lands have been known as the graveyard of many armies who ventured into their territories. Conversely, their lands have also blossomed forth numerous dynasties and empires throughout history. In more recent times, the tribesmen inhabiting the Afghanistan and Pakistan mountain ranges have gained notoriety for their successful resistance to the British in the 19th century, a guerrilla war against the Soviet Union in the 20th century, and most recently, a successful 20-year insurgency against NATO. These East Aryan mountain people highly cherish their fermented raw dairy products, which are obtained from herds of animals that chase seasonal pastures. It is interesting that the invincible Mongols only suffered 2 defeats in Asia, and both were at the hands of these East Aryan semi-nomadic tribesmen, the first in the Battle of Parwan and the second in the multiple battles of Delhi, where Mongol forces were defeated by the ruling Afghan nomads. The unstoppable Mongols shared a common cuisine with these fiercely independent Aryan tribesmen, namely a diet that was high in raw fermented dairy and meat products. The agrarian cultures of China, Central Asia, the Middle East, and the Indian subcontinent, who lived primarily on plant foods, could not afford to offer resistance of similar vigor to foreigners as did the East Aryan mountain tribesmen, owing to the inferior nutrition and vigor afforded by agricultural plant foods. The raw dairy products, abundance of animal protein from grazing animals, and the rugged terrain of these Aryan tribesmen has developed a most potent martial race. The Turkic and Mongol tribes inhabit the Central Asian steppe, which is a vast grassland that has historically been inhabited by pastoralist and equestrian nomads. It is interesting to note that through the course of Oriental history, we find the perennial reoccurrence of militarily potent, horse-riding nomadic people who migrate southwards into the agricultural civilizations of the south and emerge as conquerors and rulers. These nomadic conquerors throughout history have varied widely in their genetic and racial constitutions. At one time they were of Iranian and Afghan origin, or as they refer to themselves, of Aryan origin, and at later times they were of Altaic origin, which includes the modern-day Turk and Mongols. And so it is not a matter of racial supremacy or one race dominating another, but more so a matter of lifestyle and the superior nourishment afforded to pasture-seeking nomads. These nomadic people largely subsist on raw dairy and meat products, and due to their optimum nourishment were able to conquer and dominate the agrarian or plant-based and cooked food cultures of the southern settled civilizations. One of the more recent and perhaps most well-known phenomena of militarily potent horse-riding nomads conquering southern civilization was that of Genghis Khan and his nomadic armies devastating and conquering the Islamic Persianate world during their golden age. The Muslims at the time were the foremost leaders in science and technology, and also wielded the most significant economic and political power on the global stage. Despite this, they were no match for the nomadic armies who marched south and completely eradicated their civilization. Jack Weatherford writes in his book, Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World, quote, "The Mongols consumed a steady diet of meat, milk, yogurt, and other dairy products, and they fought men who lived on gruel made from various grains. The grain diet of the peasant warriors stunted their bones, rotted their teeth, and left them weak and prone to disease. In contrast, the poorest Mongol soldier ate mostly protein, thereby giving him strong teeth and bones." The Nilotic tribes of Africa include tribes such as the Maasai, Samburu, Turkana, and several others. They are a semi-nomadic, pastoralist people and are known to excel in long and middle distance running. They are also famous for their high jumps and are world-renowned for their excellent sporting prowess. These tribes subsist largely off of a diet which consists of raw milk, raw blood, cooked and raw meat, as well as some native vegetation. Young Maasai men combat predatory animals such as lions and safeguard their herds of cattle with only their spears. They have incredible skill and bravery in defending their cattle and will readily kill a lion using only their spear. Weston A. Price says of the Nilotic tribes in his magnus opus, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, quote, "The Nilotic tribes have been chiefly herders of cattle and goats, and have lived primarily on dairy products including milk and blood, with some meat and with a varying percentage of vegetable foods. It was most interesting to observe that in every instance these cattle people dominated the surrounding tribes. They were characterized by superb physical development, great bravery, and mental acumen that made it possible for them to dominate because of their superior intelligence. Amongst these Nilotic tribes, the Maasai forced their way south and occupy a position between two of the great Bantu tribes, the Kikuyu and the Wakambu. Both of these latter tribes are primarily agricultural people." End quote. My name is Varis Ahmad. I am a polymath and a regenerative farmer with expertise in many areas. My published works are available on Amazon, in which I share my ideas on health, nutrition, as well as spiritual and physical development. Please subscribe for future videos, like and leave your comments below. Thank you and have a wonderful day.